What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Monday night. Hope everybody had a good Monday. Today, we don't have much to talk about. It'll probably be a little shorter stream. We're going to talk a little bit about the Blazers returning to the practice facility. I'm not sure how much we can talk about that, but that is the topic for today in Blazerland. That is kind of the news about the Portland Trail Blazers today. So we've had a pretty jam-packed and busy offseason, so no shortage of topics to cover. But tonight is going to be one of those nights where we don't really have much to talk about. So we're just going to chill and take your questions and hang out with you guys for a good 50 minutes to an hour. Maybe Eric will have a surprise for us. I don't know. Do you have a surprise for us?
I don't have one planned, but that doesn't necessarily mean I won't think of something.
I'm disappointed. I wanted a surprise rant or something. So definitely think of something that pisses you off, Eric, just so you can surprise us with another good classic Eric rant. How was your day, man? I don't really know where to go with this. This is going to be one of those streams, but how was your day?
Oh, pretty good. My youngest started preschool today, so had that, and then...
How'd she handle that?
Oh, she loved it. She's super social, just wanted to, make everyone her best friend already, so... Yeah. She's going to love being in school, and so... Yeah,
that's not a surprise. Yeah. That's not a surprise. Just from what I've seen. So
interacting on screen.
yeah, exactly. So I had a smooth day, pretty chilled, relaxed day. Work was really, really good, and yeah, I'm just ready to get a stream underway. Couple things to plug. All right, if you don't know, we're posting content on the website. I'm going to continue to plug that at the start of streams. I don't want to plug it in too many videos, but I will in some of the player stuff. I will more in the future. I try and shorten down my video intros because I used to just ramble for a good 2.5 minutes on an intro for a video, and people complain about that. So I try to keep those short. But if you're not paying attention, written content on the website, got a lot of good writers writing for us, and it's been a fun experience. 1 week in, we launched it a week ago today. So we're getting the ball rolling with that. And what was the other thing I was going to plug? Oh, top 100 player videos will be on NBA Uprise. There wasn't much demand for them on Blazers Uprise, so I am going to finish that series out over the next 3 weeks over there. I got a little bit behind, but part of it was just wasn't as many people that really seemed to be super into the series, so I'll just take my time with that because that's something that I wanted to do. Those were videos that I enjoyed making, but since there wasn't a ton of demand, I'm going to put them over on NBA Uprise. The link, I will go and find the link and post it. That means schedule breakdown coming in the next 2 days, and then we're going to start player previews as we head up into October, which, talking about specific Blazers players, that is literally as on topic as it gets for Blazers Uprise for the channel. So I know you guys will want that. And those are the two things to plug, I think. Anything else to plug, Eric?
No, I think you covered it.
Yep, I will drop that NBA Uprise link down in the comments section, and in the description there's a link to our website. So I'll let you lead things off in terms of, all the wonderful topics we have tonight, Eric, since we have a bunch of them.
Well, I believe the first preseason game is 3 weeks from tonight, so if you're craving basketball, you just have a little bit of time without it to wait, and it's good to see most of the team back. I was kind of surprised that Dame was there, considering he was just on his honeymoon in Italy last week, and also very pleasantly surprised to see Nurk at the training facility already, and he looks to be in the best shape going into camp that he has in his career. Outside of maybe that 1 year where he was super skinny, but I don't know if that was necessarily being in shape. He had just lost a lot of weight that summer. So it's good to see the guys back in town and seemingly ready to get the season kicked off.
Yep. It's cool seeing Nance there. Anthony looks just comparing Anthony to how he looked coming into the league to now. I mean, I put it in the thumbnail for y'all. Yeah. Not only does he have an arm sleeve, but he just looks stronger. He just physically looks pretty drastically different than he did when he came into the league, basically fresh out of high school. So that's cool to see. It'll be interesting to see maybe how his game might change with some added strength, but it should help him defensively at least and should help him driving the lane. It'll be fun to just see his progression next year in general on both sides of the floor, especially under Chauncey Billups. So that was something that was cool to see. Nurkic shooting threes. We'll see how much of a factor that is this season. But other than that, nothing to really take away. Nance was there. Dame was there. It seemed like pretty much everybody was there. So that's cool. I like that.
Man, how awesome is it to see Norm back too? Just
Yeah.
repping the Blazer gear and just, I don't know, he seems all in. I don't think it was just some like financial decision. I think he really wanted to be here, and I'm excited for him to be back and see what he can do in a full season as well.
Yeah. Trailblazer says there's rumors that Ant is 6'5" now. I heard something about that, but I think it's made up. Where's that talk coming from? I mean, we'll see, but the dude's probably not going to grow at the age of, 22? Isn't that what he is? 22 years old? Let me look up his age, actually. Yeah, he's 22 years old, born on June 8th, 1999. So he turned 22 3 months ago. He's probably not growing 2 inches at the age of 22. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it would be extremely unlikely. You're pretty much done growing by the age of 22, so I feel like those rumors are probably false.
Yeah, and the NBA now, at the beginning of each season, actually does official measurements. He's still listed on their website as 6'3", so we'll see if that changes at all. But I'm guessing the 6'5" is both hair and shoes on, and not without shoes. But
it's a meringue rumor. Oh, that's how you know it's not true. Oh man. Yeah, 6'5" with his hair, 4'10" with a buzz cut. I mean, I'm not saying you can't grow at 22. I'm just saying it's extremely unlikely. So I just have to see it and see the measurement. If he was 6'5", that'd be great for him, obviously. Like, I hope he's 6'5". Mm-hmm. Until I actually see him officially listed as 6'5", or see him on the court and can definitely tell that he grew, then I'm not going to buy into it or believe it. So I'll wait for the proof on that.
Yeah, that's a good point, Zacho. We can ask Ant directly.
How?
Yeah, Zacho, Shervin, myself. I don't know if anyone else is in here, but we're all.
You guys are in a fantasy league with him.
Football league with him, yeah.
How are you gonna ask him? You gonna?
Well, we have like a chat for the league, and he surprisingly has commented in it and responded a few times.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, post right now. Say the people want to know: did you grow, or are you 6'5" or something? So that's investigative reporting right there through a fantasy football league. That's phenomenal. If you can get an answer on that, that'd be cool. I mean, I'll believe it if he says it. But I mean, I said I was 6'5" for a while too, and I'm 6'4" with shoes. So I would say with shoes back when the NBA did with shoes. But yeah, so we'll see. That makes it easier to put him next to Dame though if he's 6'5" as well, especially if he's like stronger too. I don't know what his wingspan is like comparative to CJ, but if he's 6'5", he's a bigger 2 than CJ is. Let me look that up. Standing reach. He measured wingspan of 6'9" at the combine and 8'3.5" standing reach. So, yeah, hopefully he grew a couple inches, and hopefully his arms grew like another 4 inches, because that would be beneficial. Anyway,
his wingspan's decent for.
Yeah, I mean 6'9" for measuring in at 6'3". So. Anyway, you post the question.
I asked it. Who knows if he'll see it or respond, but yep.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, why not? So anyway, What do you want to talk about? Do you want to take questions from chat?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this will be an episode where we just take a lot of questions from chat.
Luca, you can chat. I don't know why people post and then ask if they're banned.
Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, if we respond, they know they're not. So, yeah, Eric is now 7 foot. He grew over the off season.
I'm probably going the other way now.
Yeah, you're shrinking. I don't know, man. Let's not turn the stream into figuring out who's banned or not. If you got banned, you probably deserved it, so.
What's up, Portland Made?
What's up, Portland Made? Give us questions in chat. Give us
the
good
Beavers
questions
and
in
Ducks
chat.
won over the weekend. Those were good wins.
Yeah, screw college football. I don't care about college football. We're not going there.
You act worse about college football than people bug you about NASCAR.
Bro, you know I like football, so it ain't anything to do with the sport itself. The sport itself. So, I don't like college football. And literally, my whole experience is a bunch of Ducks fans on the timeline saying, F Washington. So, yeah, screw college football. Record predictions. Sure, we'll give... Shervin, you're going to get a 5-minute ban if you don't delete that comment in 5 seconds. I'm not saying screw football in general, Jackson. The Niners won, but yeah, the fantasy was rough.
That was ugly.
Yeah, that was ugly. So record predictions this year, I'm saying like 50-32. That's kind of my base record prediction right now. That's without putting much thought into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 53-29.
Bold. I like it.
They're not messing around this year.
Hopefully they're able to be healthy, because they're going to need to be to get to 53. So fingers crossed for that. Who's the better 2-guard to play with Dame? I mean, CJ's better than Norm. So, like, if I had to choose one, probably CJ.
Yeah.
If I had to choose one, but I'd rather have both. I feel like that's a loaded question. Like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit of a loaded question, because that's going to turn into, oh, well, that's why we should trade CJ.
Yeah, I agree with you that CJ is the better player. Norm's more efficient and a better defender, but overall, CJ's better, unless Norm shows a lot with his ball handling that he hasn't shown in previous years. But yeah, it's a tough one. I think the majority of people want Norm to stay over CJ simply because CJ theoretically could be traded right now and has more value in a trade. So that's why people say to trade CJ. But I think if you had to choose one or the other and couldn't get anyone back in a trade for the other one, you just had to cut him, I would pick CJ probably.
Yeah.
But not feel great about it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, a way you could phrase it is Norm complements Dame better, but CJ's the better overall player. So in the end, I would rather have CJ because I'd rather have the talent. Jackson, I work during weekdays, my guy. Don't act like you're not on your phone occasionally while you're in class. All right. Let's see. There was something I missed. Sure, Weezy, that wasn't directed at us, man.
We don't know that though.
It wasn't directed at us.
Who was it directed at then?
I'm just gonna say it's not directed at us. All right,
well, let me just say we have worked our butts off to get our viewers. We don't have to artificially inflate our numbers.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, but that I don't know, man. Like, there's certain people that when they tweet stuff, people think it's directed towards us, and and it just most likely isn't.
Well, I don't know what other YouTube channel they'd be talking about though.
I mean, there's a ton of channels on YouTube, man.
I know, but that person specifically.
He's given us credit for how hard we've worked, like, even when we've been beefing, so it's, I don't know. It wasn't directed towards us, but because he's given us credit, so it doesn't make any sense. Sledman says 55 games. Let's see. There's a question I missed.
Sledman asks, what are your chances? What do you think the chances are Greg gets any rotational minutes?
Okay, that was the question I missed. 0.
Yeah.
Rotational minutes are different than any minutes at all, so I'm not saying he's going to get no minutes, but he's not going to be like a regular member of the rotation. Unless there's a bunch of injuries.
Injuries, or if he just gets an opportunity just randomly because of foul trouble or something and just plays well and earns minutes, I think that's something else to look forward to. But, now that we don't have to have the, well, I'm going to play our veterans and I don't care what else happens, you know.
Yeah. I should preface it with saying, if healthy, 0 chance.
Well, I think, I don't know. I just have a feeling Billups is going to play the best guys, and we've talked about how that might mean someone like Snell or one of the bench guys, if Nas doesn't play well in training camp or something, might be on the outside of the rotation initially looking in. But I don't think it's going to be like there's no chance of cracking it. So I would give it a small chance of like 2 or 3%, but I would be surprised if this season he was actually contributing to the team, unless we were just devastated.
Like, who is he going to get minutes over, though? You know what I mean? He's a 4. Like,
well, it could be that, you know, one of Zeller or Nurk is out or something, and then
if healthy.
Yeah, if healthy, I don't see it. But if Nance has to play center at all, I think then he might have a chance to get some backup 4 minutes, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's caveats. So
this is a development year.
I can't give odds on like injuries happening or anything, so I can only base it off of if they're healthy. So bringing in Nance made it far less likely. If we never even brought in anybody to fill that backup 4 spot, I would have given it like a 10% chance.
Mm-hmm.
But Nance makes it effectively 0 if we're healthy, in my opinion. Because you got Nance and Rocco. You don't have enough minutes at power forward for Nance and Rocco. They should both be playing 30 minutes a game each night, in my opinion. So you're going to have to play Rocco at some 3 or Nance at some 3 to even give those two enough minutes, so you won't have minutes open at the 4. And Zeller's a good enough backup that it's like he and Nurkic are going to split center minutes, and there's no minutes to go there, so it's not like you're going to slide one of Rocco and Nance up, and you're already sliding one of them down to small forward, because I think they'll play some lineups with Rocco and Nance at the 3 and 4 in some combination. So I just don't think there's... I mean, we were struggling to find minutes for a 9th guy in the rotation. We did that whole exercise a couple streams ago where we had everybody kind of predict how many minutes certain players should play or how much they'd play them. It was hard to find minutes for a 9th guy. It was hard to find minutes for a Tony Snell or a Nasir Little or whatnot. So I don't think that there's really any chance whatsoever, if we're healthy, that it happens. So, I mean, it'd be fun to watch, though. I hope he gets situational minutes, and, you know, maybe we give a guy a night off. You know, he's a guy that I would feel comfortable having there in the game for the most part.
Yep. Maybe design a few, you know how, like, in football they have, like a package for certain players that just come in, and like Justin Fields came in and played like 3 plays or something in the Bears game, but he had like a certain role. Maybe you have some way to use his athleticism, or maybe as a defensive stopper and utilize him as situationally or something, maybe just to get his feet wet. I could maybe see that, but yeah, as far as cracking the rotation, it's going to be really tough.
Yep. You gotta love people that come in here mid-conversation and say, "Who are you talking about?" Beavis was in here earlier, though, so I don't know why he's
We're talking about Greg Brown.
Yes.
Jerry Curto asked if I was a fan of Oregon State before I attended there. Back in my day, the Ducks and Beavers were both awful. And I don't know if I've ever told you this story, Tori.
Yeah.
But I went to, freshman year, get to campus, there's a home game, go to the game, and I didn't really know much about like college football at the time, and that's part of the reason why I like it so much more now is because of just the feelings I had from being there and going to the games and stuff. But so they complete this like 2 yard pass, and the crowd all stands up and gives like a standing ovation, and I'm thinking like, what the hell? That was like lame. uh, it turns out they ran the wishbone like the last 20 years prior to that.
Yeah.
And that was like the first like forward pass they'd seen in a long time. So like everyone was so excited. That's how bad like those programs were back in the day. Like they had nothing. And so it kind of turned around while I was there and became really exciting. So I wasn't really a huge fan of college football before that. Like I followed it and knew what was going on and stuff, but yeah, I definitely became a fan once I went there.
Yep. Shanghai, that's a question for Google. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Ben Simmons, is he a good fit in San Antonio? That's Brady Johnson asking that one. I mean, they're a lottery team. They're a bottom feeder team, so it's not like you have to fit him with anybody. You know what I mean? I guess you got to fit him with Keldon Johnson and DeJounte Murray, but honestly...
Well, they'd have to trade at least one of those guys to get him.
Yeah, they'd have to trade probably both of them, and I actually don't like DeJounte Murray's fit with Ben Simmons offensively, because DeJounte Murray isn't a good three-point shooter and is a point guard and a guy that kind of struggles to play off the ball, just like Ben Simmons.
Well, he's better out the ball than Ben is.
Yeah, he's better, but, it's still not... he struggles to shoot the ball. Like, if you're going to trade for Ben Simmons and you're a bottom feeder, you almost just want to play him at center and surround him with a bunch of shooters and switchable defenders and just see how that works. Mm-hmm. So, DeJounte Murray isn't a shooter. You would want 4 shooters next to Ben Simmons and him to just try and be a matchup nightmare for opposing centers. That's really the, idealistic version of him if you're a lottery team, if you're trading for him. So, it kind of works in Minnesota if you have Cat at the 5 because he's a phenomenal shooter. You just got to make sure the other 3 guys can shoot. But it's like centers are already guarding Karl Anthony Towns. My whole thing with San Antonio is if you trade for him, you want to play him at center so that Yusuf Nurkic is guarding him. Or it's if you don't want to put Yusuf Nurkic on him, he has to go out and guard a Keldon Johnson on the perimeter or somebody like that. Problem is they'd have to give up way too much. You'd be giving up Keldon Johnson and DeJounte Murray and a pick. I don't think San Antonio is going to be the team that trades for Simmons.
Yeah, we had the rumor today that there was a secret small market team. That's why people are speculating the Spurs, but
I mean, my guess for that would be... I don't know. Who would your guess for the secret small market team?
That was my guess initially, was the Spurs. They seem like the type of organization that thinks they can fix him,
Who else would you guess? If not the Spurs.
I mean, everyone else who I would guess has already been mentioned ad nauseum, so
even Cleveland?
I mean, yeah, Cleveland's been tied to them all summer for some reason. I don't understand Cleveland, but yeah.
I mean, then how is there even a secret small market team? Because if there's only one small market that hasn't been linked to them, then it's not a secret who that small market team is. Well, I mean,
there's still other teams like Orlando or Charlotte or, I don't know. There's lots of teams that theoretically could be a secret team, but...
Just not Orlando. Don't pair Ben Simmons with Jalen Suggs, please. For my sanity, that'd be disgusting.
What if they traded Suggs for him?
I mean, I'd be a Philly fan for my Eastern Conference team because I kind of like Embiid, man, and I like Thibault, and I like Maxey. So if they still had Maxey there, and Suggs, he's my favorite non-Blazer at this point. He is my favorite non-Blazer. So that would be my Eastern Conference team. Me and Romp could just vibe. Me and Romp could be cool, could be tight. I'd root on the Sixers with them. But I gotta go to Orlando. When do the Magic play in Portland this year?
That's a question for Google, Tori.
Well, here you go. You hear me typing? See, I'm not going to waste my time typing it in chat. You know what I mean? I'm going to go to Portland Trail Blazers schedule. Bang. There's even a link on our website that links to the Portland Trail Blazers schedule. So, why don't I use that, actually? I need to set blazersuprest.com as my homepage. And you should set it as your homepage too, chat. Anyway, any other questions, like good questions that you see?
Who do you think has the better season, Ant or Nas from Luis Nunez?
Ant. Because I know Ant will get a chance. Nas, yeah. I'm not sure will get a big chance. I feel like Anthony should be playing 25 minutes a game. We'll see if that happens, but
I still, like, in terms of, like, breaking out and going from where they were last year to growth and much better, Nas has the chance to be that person, but yeah, Ant's already established at minimum. He's a lights out 3-point shooter and has a ton of athleticism, was improving on defense towards the end of last season. So I think it's already, Ant's more established and has the better chance, like you said. He's clearly the backup guard on our team and is one of the few people who doesn't have to fight for minutes there.
Yep. Tuesday, February 8th is when Orlando plays in Portland. So I will be trying to go to that game. I also want to see Cade's one chance at playing in Portland this year. That's what sucks is the top... Wait, who was the second pick again?
Second pick was Jalen Green to Houston.
Okay, other than Jalen Green, the top 5 picks, they're only playing in Portland once this year. Mm-hmm. So that kind of sucks, you know? You only get one chance to see Cade, and it's a loaded rookie class, so I want to see these guys as rookies, you know? I want to watch Cade play as a rookie. You know what I mean? That's a game that I'll be trying to go at. That game is earlier in the season. The Pistons play in Portland on November 30th. That's when the Pistons play the Blazers in Portland. So, missed a couple good questions. Let me see. Trading is not closed. Somebody said it's trading 1980.
Trade's going to happen anytime until the trade deadline in February. So, but at this point of the season, a lot of teams are satisfied with their roster, their offseason, and want to see what they have in training camp. So there isn't a lot of deals now, but you still have the huge Ben Simmons fiasco looming over the entire NBA, and that could cause a ripple effect for teams that don't get him or that do get him and have to then, like, let's just say theoretically the Blazers traded for him, and then maybe we have to make another trade to make a certain big man fit better with him or something like so. It might open up the floodgates if he's ever traded, or I don't know what more he's going to do, man. That guy's just seemingly wasting his opportunity to get anything of value for him.
Yep. Somebody asked to predict Nurkic's stats. I'm going to do that in a video, but you can, if you have a prediction.
Yeah, I think he's going to be around 15 to 16 points, at least 10 rebounds, and I think he'll creep hopefully up into like the 4 assists per game mark, if not higher, depending on how they utilize his passing ability. So yeah, like 16, 10, and 4 I think is a good baseline for him.
Yep. So those player profile videos, I will be setting like a goal statistical line for the season.
Yes.
I mean, it'll be kind of like, it'll be a little bit more optimistic than my prediction for them, basically, because it'll kind of be a goal for them to reach. So that'll be a part of those videos. I have a structure. So I'll go over their role with the team, how they should be utilized in the offense, on defense, how many minutes I think they should be playing, statistical goals, a couple different skills of theirs that I think are important for them to, I don't know, I'll talk about specific skills. For better or worse, you know, I will basically just go in depth on my thoughts about said player. That'll be a good video series, and on streams, Eric can always, you know, that I guess is your chance. So anything player related, over the next month, any player related questions like that, I'll just let Eric answer.
Sounds good.
I think that's the best way to do it.
Mateo asks, what do you guys think we will work on most or prioritize during training camp?
Defense.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
has to be defense. I mean, that's why Chauncey was brought in. There was all this talk about, Stotts, or Olshey basically implied that Stotts was responsible for our defense being as bad as it was, and he was.
Hmm.
That everybody acts like saying, "Oh, the roster wasn't the reason we were the 29th worst defense." People act like that's Olshey saying he thinks the roster is perfect defensively and should be a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
I mean? They just run the other way with it just so they can scream at Olshey like, "This is not an elite defense, you moron." But it wasn't the 29th worst defensive roster in the league. Like, nobody even argues for that being the case. People sit here and say, too small of a backcourt and roster isn't good enough defensively, but nobody has seriously told me, yeah, we had the second to worst roster defensively of any team last season.
Yeah.
Because what were they saying? We were 28th, 29th the season before, and we got better defensively, and people were saying that before the season, and yet we didn't improve at all. So it's like, the roster was not responsible for us being 29th specifically. Like, we should have been better defensively given our roster. So he talked about that. Olshey said that. People completely took it out of context as if Olshey thinks he did nothing wrong and the roster was great defensively and it was all Stotts' fault and yada, yada, yada. But it's like those comments has kind of put pressure on this upcoming team and the new head coach to perform defensively with this roster.
Hmm.
There's a random ad playing. Let me close down ESPN. I was on the Ravens box score. But yeah, this whole situation is a lot of pressure for Chauncey to get the team performing defensively. Now, there's also pressure on the offensive end because, they were third last year in offense. So if they decline, then people look at him and say, well, that's why we needed Stotts offensively, which is just
You can't
ridiculous
just
because
roll
our
the ball
offense was
out, right?
crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the thing is people are just going to compare the offense to the defense. And I think for Chauncey, if the defense improves into being between 10th and 15th, that's a very sizable improvement over the previous regime. So I think Chauncey is going to really go full force on the defense, knowing that that is our biggest Achilles heel. That is the biggest problem that we need to fix. And that'll make him look the best as coach. There's so many reasons for him to just absolutely try and drill that into the players, into the team, and figure something out defensively that'll work.
Yeah. And for those that missed me talking about this last season, we were further away from catching Minnesota at 28th in defensive rating than Minnesota was at catching the Pacers at 12th in defensive rating. So to jump from 10 to 15, usually a lot of those teams are bundled up to where if you have a little bit better defensive system, a little better scheme, make a few stops, you can jump up pretty quickly. So it was pretty pathetic that we were even that far behind 28th, which, to your point, Minnesota did not have better defensive personnel than us last year. I mean, Jaden McDaniels was pretty good defensively as a rookie, but that shouldn't have been enough to propel them over a team that has Rocco and Derek Jones and stuff like that. So there's no way we should have been that far behind. And this is where Billups is going to have a tough task because he has to find a way to get these guys who have for 8 and 9 years respectively, meaning Dame and CJ, they've just been taught that they don't have to fight through picks, that someone else will cover for their mistakes. Someone else will make up for the fact that they're falling asleep off ball or whatever, and they're not held accountable for that. And so it'll be interesting to see how those two respond to being held accountable on that end and being shown what to do, and hopefully being in a situation where the offense is efficient enough to where they don't have to use so much energy on that end so that they can not give up ever on plays on defense. And I think if Billups just gets them to a point where they are locked in on defense, have good game plans going in, understand what their roles are, and that it's not okay to just take plays off or to fall asleep off ball or to overhelp on a play, even though Billups has told him in practice like a million times, do not leave the shooter. If you leave that shooter, there's going to be consequences for that. And that's why our defense sucks. So you can't do that. And I think hopefully this team is teachable enough to learn that. But he's just got to hit all those points home. And I like the fact that he said he wants their guards to be scrappy, even if they're not in the defenders, because you can make up for a lot of deficiencies on your defense if you play aggressively. And that always bugged me about Stotts is we were never aggressive on defense. And on offense, it's always about, well, we don't want to turn the ball over. Let's have ball security, but we don't try to turn the ball over when we're on defense. Makes no sense. So I hope that all those things come into play. And I think just with focusing on those issues, this isn't even personnel related. None of that stuff is. I think we can jump easily into the middle part of the defensive ratings.
Yep. And we'll do a comparison at the end of the season, just kind of our rankings in certain areas, and just see how that changed. That'll be interesting to do once the season is kind of wrapping itself up. But yeah, I mean, like, just get inside the top 20 at least. You know,
Yeah.
If we're inside the top 20 and have a top 3 offense, we could get home court advantage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing, is like we were tied for 5th last year with the defense being that bad. Just imagine if it was top 20. Just imagine if we gave up 2-3 less points per game. We lost a lot of 1-point games last year, or 1-2-point games. There was a stretch where, like, we had 4 losses in a row where it was, I think, 1 point. It was crazy. So that's the thing, is like Dame a lot of times bails us out because he's super clutch, but you know, you can turn losses into wins by getting an extra defensive stop or two, and you got to pay attention to the details in order to get that done. Details such as technique getting through screens, which CJ and Dave have never been good at. So that's one of the first things we're going to focus on as the season kind of starts up is their technique different getting through screens?
Mm-hmm.
There's little stuff like that, off-ball positioning, because like Dame and CJ I think are okay on the ball. It's a lot of their issues, they fall asleep off ball and they suck at certain things like getting through screens, you know? So it's stuff that I feel like if improved upon, they could be average defenders. And that's where I think people make the mistake of just acting like, oh yeah, our defense has to suck if we have Dame and CJ starting together, because a lot of the problems aren't due to CJ being 6'3". It's due to him being 15 feet off his man one pass away, or not knowing how to get through a screen, or not knowing how to rotate, where to rotate to, when to help, how to stun at the ball, at a driver, stuff like that. That's not a height-based issue. So many of our issues last year were fixable defensive mistakes, and that's why we got so mad, and that's why we weren't just sitting here like a lot of other fans on a lot of other platforms just blaming the roster for the issues with our defense. So we will be focusing on all those technique things, all those, you know, all the detailed aspects of defense when we start covering games. And that is something we will harp on, and it'll be interesting to compare that to what our defense was a travesty last year. It'll be interesting to compare, hopefully, a solid foundational defense to the tragic stuff that Stotts rolled out last year.
And you bring up a great point. Okay, so you just said Dame and CJ are probably better on ball than off ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
But who do we have primarily on ball? Like last year, who are the players who are primarily on ball?
Whenever you ask me like a question mid sentence, I'm always just like, I know the answer to this, but I'm like,
just answer it.
We had Rocco on ball a lot.
Okay, and what is Rocco better at?
He's better playing off ball.
Okay, so don't you think that might have been part of the problem? Is you have guys like Dame and CJ who are okay on the ball, but we have them primarily off the ball their entire careers. And then we bring in someone like Rocco who's supposed to help fix our off-ball defense, and we primarily use him on the other team's best player and have him on ball most of the time. Like, that's the kind of stuff that a good coach would figure out, that you can't just... It's not as simple as just, okay, Rocco's our best defender, you have to put him on this person, and Norm's second best defender, so he guards this person or whatever. Sometimes it's better to just put Dame or CJ on the best player and allow those other guys to help if they're better at helping or protecting the rim, like in Nurkic's case or whatever. And also, it's just as simple as hedging a pick every once in a while allows those guards to get through if they're trying to fight through. Because if you just have drop scheme all the time, it's pretty much impossible to fight through a screen. And with how good offensive players are in the NBA, like that's just too much room to give them. So those two things just combine to make it so no matter what our personnel was, I feel like we could have had Ben Simmons last year, we could have had Giannis last year, and our defense would have been similar. Probably not that bad. I mean, personnel does help a little bit if they're super good defenders, but like scheme wise, it wouldn't have really mattered that much no matter who our defensive personnel was.
Yeah, and good defensive personnel, you don't have to coach up as much. That shouldn't be used as an excuse for the coach, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, poor defenders, you have to put more effort into coaching them on defense and do more to fit the defensive game plan to some of the players you have on the roster. If you have a bunch of Ben Simmons, you can run anything, and you don't even have to coach, and they'll probably be a solid defense, right? But somehow that turns into an excuse for Stotts not doing anything productive defensively last season, which I've never bought that. So that's the thing is we're going to see the differences here.
That's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't teach your guards how to properly get through screens, and that was obvious. For anybody that knows how to get through an on-ball screen, it's obvious that Dame and CJ don't really understand. And there's no reason why they shouldn't be able to get the footwork right. These guys' footwork on their dribble moves is superb, right? But when it comes to getting through a screen, they can't just position themselves properly to try and get through it.
They're like totally incompetent. Yeah.
That's not a thing. Like Dame and CJ could do it, right? It's become obvious that they weren't taught properly how to get through a screen, right? So it's like, okay, you have these two guards. You haven't taught them how to get through a screen, but then you're also going to provide them no help on screens as well. And you're going to have the big 15 feet away from the action. Like, that just compounds the issue. You know what I mean? So, and then opposing guards are like, oh, wow, man, my guy's going to get picked off on every screen, and I come off, and I have 15 feet of space every single time this entire game. That's how you get guys like Monte Morris going off in the playoffs.
And Cantor's going to be standing right in the middle between me and his man, so if he comes up just one step, then I can lob it to my guy for a dunk, too.
Dude, you know how easy that is? It's like I can walk into a mid-range, I can potentially get past the big, even if they're dropped just out of quickness, right? And if you hesitate and they flinch forward at all, you just throw it over the top, it's a lob.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and we're talking about NBA guards here. Come on, man. Like, it would be better offensively if you had guards that were taught properly how to get through screens, so at least they were bothering them from behind or, like, could stay glued to their hip and make things harder for them that way and make it so the big didn't get stuck on an island in no man's land so much. But that's exactly my point, is like a lot of the mistakes they're making compounded upon each other. And it was due to poor defensive coaching. So we're going to see the differences here, and it's going to be a good one.
And also, like, I mean, those of you who play basketball, like, if you have a guy in your face being physical and, like, always, no matter where you go on the court, he's just right there, like, face guarding you, and it's, like, super annoying. But that takes energy to, like, just even cut or get by him sometimes, you know? And just little things like that can wear out another team if you do it right. And there's ways to do it without fouling or to just be an annoyance and a pest on that end. And I don't feel like we've had any pests in the past. And then that makes it easier for teams to defend us too, because they don't have to expend as much energy on the offensive end.
I will say this, that does expend a lot of energy on the defensive end as well. So you don't want like Dame and CJ doing that for a whole game. I would like that sprinkled in here just to switch things up and to make the opposing ball handler uncomfortable, to potentially take them out of a rhythm. I think Dame and CJ are athletic enough to kind of do that in little spurts here and there, but you don't want to completely wear them out. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be playing a lot of minutes and have a lot of offensive responsibility. But when you have a guy like Larry Nance Jr. off the bench, Even Anthony Simons off the bench. Anthony improved throughout the year defensively. By the end of the season, I thought he was an average to above average defender. If he's stronger, if he's reportedly a little bit taller, he'll be better built to put some pressure on the ball. Laterally, he's actually, I think, potentially quicker than Dame and CJ. Like, he's pretty quick at laterally. And the problem is he would slide himself out of position or bite on crossovers or not stay down in a stance. A lot of like technique little stuff. But he improved throughout the season because he was fixing some of that stuff. And maybe that was Stotts having some progress with him, which makes me wonder, okay, why can't you teach Dame and CJ to get through a dang screen? But like with Anthony, he's a bench guy.
Or he took it upon himself like Trent.
I would love for him to just be able to come in the game and just pressure ball handlers and just be a pest. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if the dude picks up 6 fouls, the dude picks up 6 fouls, right? Maybe it might backfire. You might get into some foul trouble, send them to the line early on in the quarter, but it can change the tempo and it can change the flow of a game. And you can get out and run with a bench lineup that I think is built to run. Behind that, you have a Larry Nance Jr. who was top 10 in deflections last year in the league. Like, I want our bench unit to be a pressure bench unit to pressure teams. And I want Anthony, under the tutelage of Chauncey Billups, to become a guy that can pressure ball handlers and really play up on them.
Imagine if we use that to like start transition buckets and get easy baskets too. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Maybe he can't do it. All right. I don't know. But at least I think there's a chance that we'll see if he can. Mm-hmm. That's the problem under Stotts, is we would have never gotten the opportunity to see if he could or couldn't be a pest defensively, because Stotts' schemes were all conservative. Stotts' defensive ideology was all conservative. So that's where my encouragement for the season comes in. That's where my optimism comes in. Mm-hmm. We're going to be able to find out some things that we otherwise would have never been able to find out.
David Armani says, man, you guys are going to lose your mind if the team still sucks at defense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it can get much worse, because in my mind, okay, new schemes, new philosophies, hopefully, all that kind of stuff. If they suck at defense, then I said this last stream, I'll gladly admit I was wrong about the roster and the personnel or whatever. But I just don't feel that that's the case. And there's like Shervin says, there's zero chance it gets worse. So at worst, it's the same as last year, which I don't see how that's possible if you're switching it up and trying harder on that end. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if we still are as bad, at least we're trying to be good, because last year I came away from a lot of games like, wow, we're not even trying to be good defensively. Mm-hmm. We're not being held accountable defensively. You know what I mean? So like, even if we're 29th ranked again somehow and it's a roster issue, at least I won't come away from games like, wow, we're not even trying to be good on defense. Our coach has no idea how to coach defense. We're running the same stuff. Like... You know what I mean? So
what happened to all these things he said in the offseason that he's not implementing?
Yeah. You know, it's like Jose tried to pressure him in. He was going along with it for the preseason, and then he said, screw it. You know what I mean? And it's like, if we're struggling defensively, I'll be able to listen to a Chauncey Billups press conference and not be enraged. Because if Chauncey is the type to hold himself accountable and be like, yeah, I gotta get this team better prepared defensively. Whereas it was obvious that Stotts needed to help this team get better prepared defensively for games. And he'd sit there and say stuff like, well, we're 29th ranked with Derek Jones, so basically, why play him? You know what I mean? So it cannot be, it'll be better than last year. Even if our defense doesn't get better, at least it won't be as enraging. I will not lose my mind as much as I did last year in regards to defense.
And Alex asks, what what if Chauncey ends up being a player's coach and doesn't make the guards play D? There's zero chance of that happening. Like, Chauncey is not like that. That's why we hired him as coach. That's why he got the job over Rebecca Hammond, is because he will absolutely not let that fly. And he knows he's not going to come in here, because if he does that, he knows that he's not going to win and Dame's probably going to want out. So, like, why would he not want this team to succeed? It makes no sense. So he's going to be all over it. And seeing him at the Hall of Fame weekend and stuff, he was there for Ben Wallace, and the whole 2004 Detroit team was there. That was really cool. And just hearing them talk about defense and stuff like that, there's no chance of that happening. He's not going to just be like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to let you guys do whatever, and I don't care. I'm not even going to try to help you guys get better on that end.
Dude, it's like 9 years of Stotts has conditioned us to think, oh, what if the coach just doesn't try?
Right.
What if Chauncey just wants to be friends with the players and just doesn't do anything? Mm-hmm. For a number of other fan bases, if they replaced their coach, they wouldn't be thinking these things. They wouldn't be asking these things. Yeah. But we were stuck with Stotts for so long, it's like we've seen that. We've seen a coach who basically doesn't seem to care. Doesn't seem to want to improve the team. I'm sure he wanted to have a better defense, but he didn't want to do the right things to do that. He would rather he do things his way and have a good defense, or they could have a bad defense and he'll just brush it off. That was his whole attitude. It was his way or the highway, and if it didn't work, it didn't work.
Well, I know for a fact that he didn't think the offense needed much fixing or any changes, because I've heard him say it at least 20 times. So, yeah.
Shervin has an article coming up comparing the offensive rating during the regular season to the offensive rating during the playoffs and some things around that, right? That's Shervin. That's Shervin's article, right? Yep. So, and that's what we were saying, the offense would be good in the regular season, but what was I saying all year last year? I was saying, what happens when we play good teams and good defenses that know how to pressure the ball? During the regular season, we would struggle against those teams, and then we just absolutely beat up on bad teams. And I was saying all season long, what's going to happen in the playoffs, like it happens every other year? Our offense is going to regress. Now, guess what? It didn't, because Dame hit so many insane shots and basically just carried the team. Without Dame having a superhuman series, the offense was regressing. You know what I mean? That in Shervin has the proof, because over the past, 7 years, 8 years, whatever, if you look at the offensive rating in the regular season compared to the playoffs, it declines, right? It'll be higher ranked out of 30 teams during the regular season than it will be out of only 16 teams during the playoffs. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, and Shervin says 2021 was the outlier. Yeah, it was. It was a mediocre defense.
We played tougher teams in the playoffs.
Yeah. But it's if you're in the top 10% offensively during the regular season, why wouldn't you be in the top 10% offensively during the playoffs?
Yep.
That's the part that makes no sense. It's like out of all playoff teams during the regular season, we'll be ranked second, and then out of all playoff teams during the playoffs, we'll be ranked 10th, and people will try and say, oh, well, harder teams during the playoffs. No, if you only take the top 16 teams, it regresses. There's no way to explain that away. So that whole argument I hate, because it's just so silly and wrong, and you just end up having to argue it. And it's I swear, dude, I can't stand the type. This is a little mini rant. I can't stand the type of people that argue in a way where they will literally just throw stuff at a wall to see what sticks for you to argue to get you further away from your point when your point is good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's they don't have a counterpoint for the point you're actually trying to make, so they will just throw stuff out there to see what they can get you arguing to create some sort of argument that's not actually based on your point, because they can't argue that. So many people argue like that, and I hate it. I hate that debate tactic. Anyway, that's my little mini rant there. You
Yeah.
guys got a rant for the stream. Not much of one. Not as good as Eric B ranting, but hopefully
man,
good enough.
You try your best.
Dude, I mean, I don't think we're going to be ranting this season, man.
No.
What could we
Hopefully
rant
not.
about other than refs?
I mean, honestly, if the players are put in a position and they're not
Guys
succeeded,
aren't playing hard.
yeah, or if they're not, if we have games where people are getting wide open shots, like in the game 5, and our non-Dame players go 1 for 19 and 2 overtimes, like that kind of stuff. Might be time to rant on the players a little more than the last game.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is, like, all of our rants stemmed from the way things went about and the whole process of everything. So it's like it wasn't really as results based as people tried to make it seem, because we would be critical even in wins. But now it's like going into the season, it's like, man, are we gonna be critical at all? Like, now we're the optimistic, happy people. When all last season people were like, hey, you guys are so negative. Now it's like, oh wow, you guys are the only people that are positive. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. I still think there is a small chance that, I've seen this before where someone says all the right things and can't really make it work as being the man in charge. So I guess there's still a chance that we could be sitting here saying, man, what happened to all these things Billups was saying he was going to do and implement more ball movement. And so, yeah, if we go back to just ISO ball and pick and roll heavy and aren't getting good shots or not getting better shots than we got last year.
There's no chance of that.
I know, that's the only way I think we'll be ranting as much as we had in the past, is if we were playing the exact same way.
Well, we might as well just say, if we bring back Stotts and fire Chauncey, then we'll be ranting too, because that's about just as likely. I don't see there being any chance of that, man.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm too optimistic, Eric, and I know you are slightly, and I only say slightly because you're like, we're on the same page here, but you're like, will slightly hedge your bets with him, man. And I just wish you jump in the deep end with me head first.
I love everything Billups has said basketball wise. I think it's so far, if you take out all the external factors outside of basketball, I don't think we could have hired a better coach. But the fact is, he still is a first-time head coach. And there are incidences where you would think, Jason Kidd, that it would translate to being a good coach, and it doesn't really work out. So I don't think that's going. I know. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm just saying that it's not out of the realm of possibility that no matter what he does or says, he can't get the team to buy in or to do that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to hit the ground running. I think we're going to get off to a good start finally this year. And I think we're going to put all these like question marks about the team in our rear view. And I have a feeling pretty early in the season, we're going to be like, wow, this team is for real. It won't surprise us because we're telling you right now this team is for real. But it's going to surprise all these people who think we're going to be struggling to make the play-in game or the playoffs in general. Yeah.
Daniel starts the 4th of October. I mean, I'll lead the bandwagon. I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. I will be like the front leader, and you can be a row behind me.
I mean, I guaranteed last stream that we'd be a top 4 seed. I don't know how much more optimistic or bandwagon you can get than that.
I mean, but there's a chance that Chauncey sucks and we're not top 4. But you didn't say it with that. See, I want that confidence. See, I like that. Well,
I'm saying I think Chauncey's going to be great. I'm just saying you're saying there's like no chance we could be ranting about the coaching this season, but like there is a chance we could be.
I mean, we might be ranting about like one specific thing, but Chauncey's going to be a good coach, man. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing, is like, he's going to be a good enough coach where like if he's doing one thing wrong, I might point it out, but it's not going to be a situation where we're like, I can't stand this guy. I want him out. I want him done. Like, I'm talking about rant to the like in the same realm that we were ranting last year.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any chance of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
like,
just saying.
That's a true rant.
Yeah. But I don't get why you're saying I can't. I think Chauncey Billups will be a good coach. I think he's going to translate well. But that doesn't mean that he's going to. Like, that doesn't. There's still a chance that he's not a good coach. Like, we don't know anything about him yet other than what he's said in interviews. So.
No shot.
Okay.
I'm going to be rationally or maybe irrationally confident. All right. So I'll be irrational and just pretend like there's no chance because there's not.
All right.
So, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we're on the same page here. I don't see like he's going to be a guy that holds the players accountable, and I think that's one of the biggest issues. That's why it's like I have no qualms about saying that there's no chance that he's going to be a bad coach. Because I think he's going to know how to speak to the players. He's going to be able to hold them accountable. Like, and I feel like that is kind of just based on, like, you can tell that based on listening to him talk, right? And then
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's just, I've seen it too many times where someone makes a hire and it just completely goes off the rails for some reason, and I can't say there's like Chauncey's guaranteed to be a good coach. I think he will be. I think it was the right hire. All right.
No, that's completely fine. We're literally arguing semantics, like detailed semantics right now. But there's your guys' argument for the stream. See, I told you guys I told myself before the stream we're going to be able to figure our way, weave our way through a stream with no topics. Yeah, we're just going to manufacture basically everything you guys ever wanted from us. So there you go. There's an argument. It was about semantics, but who cares? Shh. Anyway, anything else that you want to rant about, argue about, talk about, agree on?
Ernesto had a good question earlier that I'd like your opinion on.
Yes.
Who do you think is going to do better without their star, Denver or the Clippers?
Better record?
Yeah, I guess.
Denver, easy.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Jamal Murray's their number 2 guy. Kawhi's their number 1.
Yeah, and Denver's proven that they can tread water and be in the keep having a good record while having Murray out, whereas the Clippers, it's kind of uncharted territory. I know they had a few good games, including beating the Jazz without Kawhi, but I think Denver's I don't know, they're more solidified as being okay without their star, but they still have their main guy.
They have their superstar. See, one team's without a fringe all-star, one team's without a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
One team still has a superstar, one team has an all-star. So yeah, I don't see how there's any disagreement on that from anybody. You know, I feel like that's a question that
if we're talking
answers itself.
If we're talking in the playoffs without him, then it might be a different story. But both those guys should be back by the playoffs, so that won't be the issue this year.
Yeah. I mean, Denver's fine just because of Jokic. Michael Porter trash can's overrated, but
Gallo 2.0, right?
Gallo 2. I mean, exactly. So, you know, yeah, I'm not even Shervin will go off on me if I go into further. That's the other thing he loves to argue. Michael Porter trash can and Benjamin Simmons are his 2 favorite players. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about?
Zach says PG has the potential to play at MVP level. Well, Jokic was the MVP last year. Yeah. Paul George is going to have a good year next year, I think. Yeah. But, I mean, Jokic, yeah. He ain't having the year Jokic had last year. Isaac Sandstrom says, do y'all for real still think you could beat local high school teams?
2-on-5?
Wait. No, I think it was talking about the Bishop Sycamore thing. Okay. I don't know why you think we said we'd beat local high school teams. There's some teams we could beat, I think, but like if we played Jefferson, we get smoked by them.
If we could beat 75% of teams in Clark County. So, I'll just say that. I mean, shoot, man, I've been on one shooting the ball a little bit lately. I finished my game last Thursday. I made 4 or 5 from 30 feet. So, don't underrate me. Don't be a chiefin', all right? To anybody that doesn't know chiefin', they're like, what in the world does that mean? But no, we can play, man. At least I can play. There's some good players in this community, and Eric can play, and I can play.
Yeah, my daughter pre-COVID was in like cheerleading and dance and stuff, so I went to a few high school basketball games, and yeah, it was pretty weak.
Dude, I didn't realize, like, I don't know. I'll watch back old games of mine, and I feel like I'm so much better. Like, back in high school, I was a better shooter. So, like, and I could shoot better. Like, I had more of a bag in terms of, like, shooting shots off the dribble.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could shoot step-back threes a lot better. And I wasn't really good, like, dribbling off screens into shots. It was really only step-back threes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm forgetting, though. I don't know. I just feel like now it's like I move better, footwork's better, vision is better. I'm like 20 times a better passer than I was in high school. Shots kind of getting back to where it was. I'm smarter off the dribble. I'm just not as quick. I'm not as quick because I was 40 pounds heavier. And I still knew how to use my body, so I wasn't like too weak or anything. So that's the one thing, is I was like quicker and could shoot better off of step backs and whatnot. So, I mean, but yeah. So I was a good player in high school. I started 2 years. We were 22-0 in league in Clark County with me as a starter. So, I mean, if I think I'm better now, what do you think my answer to that question is? I'm out here dropping 49, 14, and 10 in my local rec league. Making Eric proud.
We got to run a game, his high school versus us.
Who's your high school?
Yeah. I mean, most high schools, if they had, like, college-level players, we might be in some trouble, but, like, yeah, I don't know. I think we'd hold our own against most.
Beaverton High School.
Beaverton. What you got this year?
Last year's state champs, baby. Yeah, let me pick anybody that's like I've ever talked to in this community. I mean, we'll go get Jared Houston. We'll go get... I don't know. I know a couple 6'10" guys.
I don't think we need to be like get ringers and stuff. I mean,
bro, let's get ringers, man.
I'd have more fun if like you and I were the best 2 players and just see how much we could carry.
Who says still be the best player?
Okay.
Just give me a 6'10". I mean, I would love a 6'10" guy to throw lobs to off the pick and roll. Personally, that would be fun. I've never really had that. And I like have tried to become the best passer I can be. Like I've really focused on my passing. I have never gotten the privilege of playing with like a 6'10" lob target on the pick and roll. I want to see how I would do with that, throwing lobs, doing my best Trae Young impersonation. I mean, but like me and you leading the team, we can be good, you know. But it's like, are we putting, you know, Connor Martin out there on the wing?
That would be kind of fun.
Connor and Smog, we putting them out there. I mean,
I've always prided myself on trying to make guys like that into winners and better than just like stacking my team. And
have you seen those guys' shots? I'm not sure.
I know I have seen them. Yes, yes, maybe not that one.
Yeah, we're just taking shots at them. I don't think either of them are in here.
Why would we play the 2003 LeBron team, Alex? That makes no sense. We get destroyed by that team. That's what I'm talking about. Like, people just twist words.
I just need shooters, though. Like, guys that know how to play. Give me shooters and guys that know how to cut, and I'm fine. I'll shoot some 25, 30 footers if I have to. I feel just as comfortable there right now, apparently, than I do at the high school three-point line. So I'll do that and throw some dimes and play some defense. That's my play style right now.
Play the 2019 Parkrose High School team. All right.
Everybody's just going to shout out their high school teams. Like 2019 Parkrose. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think we covered most of it.
Alrighty, we'll be live again on Thursday. Beavis says we've reached the part of the stream where Tori strokers his own ego. What do you mean? See, I'm headed into the outro, Beavis. What are you talking about? What does strokers mean? Come on. That's a 5-minute ban.
Oh, man.
Put user in timeout. Bye, Beavis. That wraps up the stream. We'll be live again on Thursday. Schedule breakdown will come between now and then we'll be starting our player previews series. We'll continue to get content uploaded on the website, blazersuprez.com. Link in the description box below. Make sure to subscribe to NBA Upres. I plugged that link in the chat. That's where I'm going to be finishing out my top 100 players series over the next 3 weeks. My goal is to get it done by the start of the regular season. So that will be at that link in chat. Anything you want to end off with?
No, thank everyone for tuning in. And yeah, it's always fun to interact with chat. And thanks for all the questions tonight and for tuning in. Have a good rest of your night.
Yep, thanks for carrying the stream, chat. Hopefully we have some more Blazers news on Thursday, but this is kind of the point right before training camp where there's really not anything to talk about. But if Ben Simmons gets traded to here or anywhere else, we'll be able to talk about that if and when that does happen. It should be a when, but with Morey, it's more of an if. So other than that, we're going to have some chill streams over the next couple weeks, and then it's Blazer basketball time. It's we're ramping things up, man. It's only 3 weeks away till the start of the preseason, and a little bit more than 5 weeks away until the start of the regular season, so it's right around the corner. Anyway, thank you for tuning in with us tonight. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night and a good Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll catch you again Thursday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.